But I probably should see what she had said.
Hold on, I can't.
Recording in progress.
Good evening, I'd like to call the July 15th Town Board meeting to order. Everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. So we did have a public hearing scheduled tonight for the acquisition of the property next to the wastewater treatment plant. However, we are going to have to take it off the agenda for tonight. Last minute, the attorneys for the owners submitted a survey that contradicts ours, so we will need to sit down and just work out through those details before we can go ahead and move on with the public hearing.
I would make a motion to adjourn it for 2 weeks to the, I guess it would be the 8-5 agenda.
So then would we open it and then adjourn it?
Just, no, it can just be adjourned. No, just adjourn it so it stays open, and we probably should publish a notice that it was adjourned.
Okay, I will.
Motion.
I have that motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. All right. I don't have a supervisor's report this week. Do we have any correspondence? No correspondence. Then I would like to move on to our public comment. Would anyone like to speak tonight?
There's no one on the list.
Oh, would anyone?
Wait a minute,
Yep, sign in.
we didn't do it.
Oh, should I?
Neither did I. Didn't know it was there. Yeah, there's a few people here that want to speak. Sure.
All right.
We'll get their names for you.
How about as soon as the first person writes their name down, come on up, pass the sheet to the next person, and then we'll go right after one after the other.
Go ahead, Keith, he's waiting for you.
What do I do?
Speak.
Speak.
Come on up here.
Step on up.
Yeah, I'd like to know what's going on with.
You have to state your name over here by the camera, thank you.
Keith Wahenko, live on 27 Rose Road.
Thank you.
I'm a little bit concerned about what's going on 6373 Rose Road. I mean, there doesn't seem to be, I thought the people that bought it were supposed to be vacate from the property, and they're building, moving in, and everything else. I don't know what's going on there.
Okay. I don't think it's supposed to be building, but
They're tearing things apart, they got another big generator behind the red barn, they're running the power to all the other buildings, that the new buildings that were put up that weren't supposed to be worked on at all. The power's still disconnected to that piece of property for that barn. The fuses are still out.
so then maybe, I think maybe it's gonna send code enforcement down there and check that
I
out.
talked to the code enforcement officer, Mr. Morris, because I called it in, because they're working at night most of the time. They got the lights go on and all that. Both houses, the barn, and so the code enforcement officer showed up, Mr. Morris, and he called me, he wanted to know where exactly I saw this. And I met him up there, and he didn't know anything about it. So I called him a couple days later, and he said he passed it on to his supervisor, and he's got control of it now. But I emailed him, and I've got no answer from him either. I don't know what's going on up there.
What was the address there?
What, for the?
6370.
6373. It's the old McKeon farm. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of work going on. They've actually cut the grass finally, but they've got new fencing up for the kids, and I mean, the houses are both being inhabited by kids and people. I mean, just a massive amount of people.
Sir, did you say inhabitants?
Excuse me?
Did you say inhabitants?
They're resident. They're taking up residency in there, as far as I can see. And there's a bunch of kids. And the other thing that really upsets me a lot is that the people walk up and down Rose Road, and it's a narrow road, and it's an agricultural road, basically. And they're walking up, and the traffic is ridiculous on there anymore, and way above what I would assume would be normal speed limit for there. I mean, I don't travel, I lived there for 30 years, and I have never traveled that fast. And they come screaming down that hill. They put 2 cows up there. I have no idea how they could get away with that, because last I knew there was a court order that they had to evacuate the place. And now there's 3 cows up there. There were 4, and I guess the animal control ended up taking 2. The 3 that are up there now are, in my opinion, they look like they're Jersey cows. They're like skin and bones. You can count the ribs on every one of them. The backbones are showing. I mean, they're not being taken care of. That's pretty obvious. I mean, I don't know what's going on. It's, nobody cares or what? I just don't get it.
Okay, we'll reach out to them, of course, we can see if we get back to you. Did you leave your name and your number?
I'll email, what was his, all I remember is TJ.
No, leave your phone number and your name.
So we get-
Oh, okay, I can do that, yeah, but he hasn't gotten back to me, and, so I'm sort of like, I know, I mean, I'm not like crying or anything, but when I put up a garage years ago, I showed through things for variances and all that, right? Which is fine, I follow the law, right? I put up a house on my property I've owned for 15 years. I had to apply for 3 different variances. I waited like 2 months to get it approved with all the loopholes and all that, that I had, loops I had to go through. Which, again, the law's the law. It doesn't seem to be any law up there whatsoever. I mean,
Forget to set the timer, but time's up.
Time's up?
Yes,
Thank you, man.
sorry.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'll put my name.
Thank you.
Who's next on the list?
You took the list.
Robert Nastassi.
Yeah, how you doing? This is Benson. Everybody. Yeah, my name is Robert Nastassi. I live on 38 Rose Road. Now, when I walk my dog at nighttime, around 11:30 at night, I hear the hammering. I hear a generator going off up there. I hear people, you know, working all hours of the night. When I went out at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, I will be hearing it, because I don't live too far away. I live right next door from Keith Langro. And, you know, I just recently got a permit, because I had to move my electrical panel. But I did it the right way. I went and I got a permit. They don't have to get permits for anything. Now, Mr. Ben Simone, I'm going to come out, Ben Man, I'm going to explain to you how I feel about what's going on with the Supreme Court. That Supreme Court was supposed to be where it was dismissed because of, I would like you to please explain to me why. Because I don't see why it was dismissed. We had it to the Supreme Court, which made history. We never had anything going to the Supreme Court when it came to this. But now all of a sudden it's dismissed. We had this conversation early on, before when you were a candidate. You would have never let this happen. But now that you're a town supervisor, it has happened. Can you please open up and tell all of us why that it was settled and it was thrown out in the Supreme Court? Thank you.
Put your name on it.
I already did that.
Next is Mary Adams.
It's okay.
You're good, okay. Jerry Skoda.
I guess someone's going to ask me a question, huh?
My name is Jerry Skoda. I'm a farmer in the town of Fallsburg. I rent a 200-acre farm that borders this property. And I also was on the revision of the comprehensive plan that identified the farming areas and the open space areas that need to be protected. And I don't feel that the town board is taking that serious at the present time. I've got some questions for Chairman Ben-Simone. Are you aware that the owners of 73 Rose Road ignored every town building code in the last year? Yes or no?
Every, 100%, all of them?
Yeah. They didn't even come to the town board for any building permits. They built 3 buildings, converted a horse barn into a dormitory. Don't act like you don't know this, okay, please? Are you aware there are a number of existing health and safety violations on the property? Yes or no? Yeah, you do. There's been no electrical inspections with children put in a horse barn converted to a dormitory. There was a new sewer placed in the DEC wetland. That's all been pointed out to you. Illegal apartments were put in 2 single-family houses. They applied for no building permits, avoided every town building code, and hid behind an 8-foot stockade fence with a guard placed in front of it. They even refused to let your town code enforcement officers on the property. You knew that too. The town brought a Supreme Court action against the group, and you canceled that lawsuit to settle it locally, and you really settled it. Have you sent written notice this year to all your departments to enforce the town code and health environmental laws and rules equally without favoritism to some groups? Yes or no? Probably not. Have you directed the code enforcement to stay away from 73 Rose Road so they could have another legal season? Yes or no? Did you do that? I guess you answered me. Shame on you if that's true. You are sure leaving a terrible legacy for the town of Fallsburg. Action like these are very serious examples of poor local government. However, I would also like to include the other town board members who have been a part of dropping this lawsuit and knowing that the code enforcement is not being done equally in the town, and knowing that 73 Rose Road has now been taken off the list. We stay away from that so they can have another season. Thank you.
Have you heard that they're going to sue the board, town board?
You should.
Is anyone else signed up to
There's no
speak?
one else.
Would anyone online like to speak? I have someone that would like to speak. Please step up, give us your name.
My name is Ari Klugner, thank you. I just heard some very disturbing remarks of someone. I think the town should announce it, no one should speak like that.
Could you speak
Can you speak up?
Yes, everyone should be treated equally, and what comments I heard is unacceptable. And I think if it's something, some communities are being treated horribly, and I don't think farmers should be treated as farmers. And if this farm would have been operated by anyone else, would have been treated differently. The motive is somewhere behind it.
I can't hear what
I can't hear
It's
anything.
okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Would anyone else from the public like to speak tonight?
Mayor?
Here.
Mary Adams. I don't see this as an argument between people. I think it's a matter of land use and safety. And this Rose Road situation has gone on for a long time. That lawsuit was quite a while ago. And I understand that it's hard to enforce these things, but it does put, I believe, the town at risk, and it is illegal when there's no CO to be on that property. It's not safe. It's not like we don't like them. It would be true for anyone. It would be true for me if I brought my family and community and settled in without proper legal permission. It is not about people. It is about what is safe and how our town is run. And I think it's pretty dangerous how this kind of goes on because of, I don't know why, but it isn't safe. And it's not sustainable. And we know that. So I don't know what we're going to do, but we've got to enforce the laws.
Not being paid to enforce.
Thank you.
They're not doing it.
Here, anyone else like to speak tonight? Anyone online?
Yes, we have iPad Pro. I don't know who it is, but I'm gonna unmute him. Can you state
Hello.
your name, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
My name is Gary Coucher, and I live here in Fallsburg. And I agree with all of these comments, because I do find that really that the laws don't seem to apply equally across the board. You know, it's like, I know, like, I had a restaurant across the street. They went to the planning board for something, and they promised at the planning board that yes, we would be no lights after 11 o'clock, no noise at night, and yet, you know, the things are go on as usual. Nothing really happens. They're very nice promises. You know, but nothing really changes. So I really think that the laws are just applied differently depending on whether you're here for the summer or whether you're here for the whole year. So I would appreciate the town actually just seeing what they can do about making sure that everything just gets applied to all equally. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Gary. Anyone else like to speak?
Could I ask one more question?
Come on up, sir.
Hi, James Lagari. My question to you and the board is, how many complaints has the police department this year, the Fallsburg Police Department, received for lighting issues on Bud Road, Todd Road, noise issues on Bud Road, Todd Road? I know that at least one individual who called the police department, and the police department responded, but didn't do anything. These places all have security guards, and if you're a security guard, you must, a legitimate security guard, you have to have a certain credential in order to hold that position. And part of the credential that you hold is upholding the law. So if this town has not had the time, or take the time to enforce noise issues and lighting issues, because you just went through this and rechanged or updated your ordinances. So there's plain English as to what they say, particularly with noise after 10 o'clock, lighting shining on other people's property. Those are pretty simple things for the town to enforce. And I know for a fact that on those two roads, because I've driven up there myself at 11, 12 o'clock at night, so I heard the noise, I saw the lights. And some of them were so bright, you could probably drive to Mountaindale, pick a high place, and be able to see the light shining over here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak tonight?
Could I say one more thing?
You want to make another public comment?
Yes. Yeah, the other thing that I don't understand, the 63, 73 Rose Road, you know, there's back taxes of $40,000. Why is that? There's a tentative exemption of $254,000? I don't know where all that's coming from either. I mean, maybe they're getting a tax exemption, trying to get a tax exemption for religious reasons or something. But, you know, you got cows, that sort of like dictates agricultural. A religious establishment, and you know, you're raising, quote, sort of raising cows. I don't understand that whole tax thing. Now, if I had been tax delinquent for $40,000, they'd probably be all over me. It just sits out there. I don't know. Thanks.
Anyone else like to speak tonight?
Yeah, I got one question. Is anybody gonna respond to our questions tonight?
It's public comment, not a question and answer session.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks.
Anyone online like to speak? All right, then I'm going to go ahead and close the public portion and move on to our agenda items for tonight. All right, first agenda item, number 1, motion to approve town board minutes dated 7/1/25.
Motion.
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second, all in favor? Aye, motion passes. Number 2, motion to approve warrant number 0725 dated 7/3/25 in the amount of $356,428.12.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Number 3, motion to approve warrant number 07825 dated 7/7/25 in the amount of $15,427.10.
Motion.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Number 4, motion to approve employment in the Parks Department for the following: Adam Olson, Jake Cross as laborer with a pay of $16.25 per hour effective 6/30/25, as well as Yelena Phillip, office clerk with a pay of $16.25 per hour effective 6/30/25, as well as Jake Scana, office clerk with a pay of $16.25 per hour effective 7/3/25.
Motion. Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Number 5. So this is for the electrical upgrade, where the wastewater treatment plant is a major upgrade we've been working on for years now, and we are now actually up to the, execution phase. So for one of the first steps in the process is we have to upgrade the electricity that's coming into the site, where it's gonna be using a good amount more electricity than before. So we're gonna have, put it out to bid for the lowest bidder, for a vendor to come out and perform the work for us. So, the firm on this resolution, or on this motion, was the lowest bidder to come in. Alright, so number 5, motion to award South Fallsburg wastewater treatment plant utility upgrade contract number 1 to West Fair Electric Contractors Incorporated in the amount of $2,875,000.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Alright, so the next one is the developers agreement. So these are done for a lot of different reasons. One of the reasons is where usually the planning board will issue an approval for an entire project, and typically we won't close out that project until it's fully complete. However, in the different phases of the building, there are situations where homes that have already been purchased and paid for have been completed, and other homes have not. And the developer would like to move ahead with the completion of the sale of those homes. However, the approvals for the entire project. So typically there are a number of punch list items and things that they have to do to finish off the other homes. And they are essentially what they're looking to do is for the town to grant them permission to go ahead and close the project. However, as a safeguard to the town, they're going to take a list of all the outstanding items and put a dollar amount to that. As if the town was forced to bring a contractor to finish those items, and it would cost this much to finish that. That's the amount of money that the developer has to put into escrow to ensure that these items get finished. Then as they complete, they can do one of two things. They can either deduct from it and draw down from it as time goes by, or they can complete all of the corrections and then get that back. Which is actually what's going to happen in the next resolution that we're looking to pass, where they've already fulfilled their responsibilities, and they're looking to get back their escrow. So in this resolution, we're looking to develop, to create an agreement for that, and then the next one is they've already completed the agreement, and now they're looking for us to release the funds. So number 6, Resolution 60 of 2025, approving the developers agreement for Zimmerman Estates LLC.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Number 7, Resolution number 61 of 2025, approving release of security pursuant to the developers agreement for Laurel Crest Project, SBL 39-1-90.
Motion.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. All right, so the last one has to do with, it's an intermunicipal agreement between the town and the county to utilize, it's called the RUST program. It's a state grant money that's used for certain infrastructure improvements. I believe we're looking to use some of that money to offset the demolition of property that was gonna be a cost borne by the town. So the county is helping us offset that cost.
It's all attributed to that particular project.
It's all to the one property. So the town has, the county has some grant funding to help us with that, and by entering this agreement, we will be able to offset a little over $100,000 that we did not have before. So number eight, resolution number 62 of 2025, authorizing the RUST program intermunicipal agreement between the County of Sullivan and the Town of Fallsburg.
Motion.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. And that is the end of our agenda items for tonight. I think we have something in executive, I'm not sure.
The only item I would have had in the executive was already covered in the public comment and the direction of the board to have the building department go out and look at what's going on out on Rose Road. Once they look at it, you can report back and see. The court order remains in place. There's a prohibition against using the property for any use that's not approved. So, for example, it's a single-family residence and it wouldn't require anything additional. It might be usable. Any other use that would require site plan approval, special use permit or other, would be required. You missed it, we adjourned it, we got your map.
What's that?
You missed it, we adjourned it, we got your map.
Oh, you adjourned the public hearing?
Yes, because we disagree on what the area is, there may need to be a change in the resolution.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So, and I've already spoken with the town engineer, we're gonna put the two surveyors together and see what the story is.
Okay,
'Cause
that's great.
They're wildly different.
Why? All right, if either Lansbury, my client show up, send them home.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Take care. Sorry for this. So the prohibition is from using anything that's not approved. So that's what that has to be investigated. The building department's gonna have to make a determination and then we'll go from there as to what enforcement the board wants. But there needs to be an evaluation of the things because the allegations are a little different than we were making before, as far as what was going on up there. So that
So we
was,
need code enforcement to go and
code
investigate
enforcement
the
has to go
allegations that's being
investigate and see what the
presented.
story is. They're permitted to use it for any legal use where they have approvals or a CO. If they don't, then we have a one path. If they do, or if there's something that they're not legally use, it is an agricultural district, and the clamoring at the time was it should be used agriculturally, and that has to investigate as to how to use it. If it's an agricultural use that's allowed, that's something. If there's a single family dwelling that's allowed, that's another thing. If it's some other use or continuing to go without permits, again, that has to be investigated, analyzed, and go from
All right, so I will entertain, if nobody has anything for executive session, I will
I've got a
entertain.
couple of things.
For executive session?
No, for public,
Motion?
for motion, yeah, I've got a couple of things.
All right, motion number one. What's the motion?
I would like to have a motion to establish a civil service position of administrative secretary, combining the current Sullivan County job description of administrative secretary duties with the duties of the confidential secretary and other assigned duties that the current confidential secretary has into the role of administrative secretary, which provides that role civil service protections. Here is the job description for everyone to review.
So you're trying to create a new position called administrative secretary in addition to the confidential secretary
Not in
position?
addition, to remove the confidential secretary position and to roll that into the administrative
But
secretary.
isn't confidential secretary established in state law and town law?
You can take it, but you can keep it if you want. I would take the salary and the person and put that into into the administrative secretary, based on.
And then defunded the confidential secretary position?
Yes, sir.
Interesting. Okay, and what would the advantage and disadvantages be of this?
Well, in chatting with the county HR commissioner, she was uneasy about the way that we currently have the positions established. So based on that, conversation, it just makes sense to correct this from that standpoint.
Positions in plural?
Well, currently the confidential secretary is in two roles, right? And so,
What are the two roles?
well, the confidential secretary, and then there's also this other civil service part-time position.
What's the civil service part-time position?
She's holding in the building department, I believe. So,
Isn't that a stipend though? Or is
But-
that a civil service position?
but it's a civil service position, so the county HR commissioner is not comfortable with that, which makes sense. And so combining those duties into the administrative secretary just makes sense.
Why
So,
wouldn't the county inform the town that there's a civil service issue with that?
I don't know, I called and they asked questions because it didn't seem right to me.
That we have a confidential secretary that also receives a stipend to do.
That was in two roles, it didn't seem right.
That receives a stipend to do work in the building department?
The way it was set up, it just didn't seem right.
I wasn't here when it was set up, so I'm not sure why and how it was set up. We can establish two very separate positions. We can have a confidential secretary, as established by state law, and then we can have the administrative secretary as established by the town board.
And we can defund the confidential secretary position as established by the town board as well. I have a motion on the floor.
Okay. So we can digest this and come back to it, or we can move on the motion. So you've made the motion. Do I have a second?
I could finish reading this.
It's all, can I have a copy?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think our town attorney should review as well.
Yes, definitely.
So all this is a job description for administrative secretary. It's
That
not
is
the-
correct.
It's not like position paper as to why you should and shouldn't,
Well, I'm not
the pros and cons.
you just asked me the question, I answered it. It's on the floor.
And this was taken off the county website?
Yes, sir.
So this is the county's definition of administrative secretary,
Yes,
not for
sir.
any county employee.
As you've asked me for the second time, yes, sir.
For clarification, it's not the same exact question.
Okay.
Are you, Rich, are you checking it out?
I'm looking, I see the description, I'm just double checking under the civil service law what the procedure is. Under civil service law, section 22, for any new position, the service of the civil division shall be created, or any existing position shall be reclassified. The proposal, therefore, including a statement of the duties of the position, shall be referred to the municipal commission having jurisdiction, and such commission shall furnish a certificate stating the appropriate civil service title for the proposed position. For the position to be reclassified, any new such position shall be created, or any such existing position reclassified only with the title approved and certified by the commission. So I just have to double check. There may need to be paperwork that follows. So what I would suggest, if there is going to be a motion, a second, and a creation of this position, that it be subject to whatever additional resolutions or paperwork requirements as may be necessary to completely and correctly form it in civil service laws.
So I'd like just to make a statement. So I only know Jen for, 2 years that I've been on
I
this
feel
board.
like I should leave the room or something.
Maybe you should. I only know Jen for the 2 years that I've been on this board, and taking Mike or myself or any previous supervisor out of the picture, she's one of the hardest working, most dedicated employees that I've ever of working with, and I do believe she deserves the peace of mind of taking the politics out of her position. So if our attorney is comfortable with this, I think she deserves the security of knowing her job is safe. So I will second that motion.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
And that would be subject to whatever other resolutions are for paperwork.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other motions?
I have something for executive session.
Okay, so I have a motion to enter executive session.
Oh, yes.
No,
I'm sorry.
not done.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I would like to put a motion on the floor for the board to review. A motion for a local law prohibiting the recording or disclosure of confidential information from executive session of the town board.
And town attorney, are we ready to do this?
Yes, sir.
You all ready? I looked at it. What do you think? It still needs other steps because we're gonna have to have a public hearing.
You're gonna have to have a public hearing.
I'm sorry, Sean, did you just make a motion? What was that?
I did. I made a motion for to set a public hearing based on.
To set a public hearing.
Yeah, to set a public hearing to review local law prohibiting the recording and disclosure of confidential information from executive sessions of the town boards.
Your motion seconded.
What?
Yes. Anybody else need a copy?
Anyone else need a copy? Can I have one, please? Sure.
Absolutely.
There's a motion.
So
And a second on
we
the floor.
should pick a date, just to make sure we have enough time.
Yeah.
I would say either, do we have a meeting 19th or 26th?
We have one, hold on.
The 12th, we have no meeting.
You have the 19th and the 26th.
I would say the 26th to make sure we can get everything together. The local law is on your desk in time, plenty of time to comply. But I can bring back a resolution.
26 works.
Yeah, I would say the 26th. We could do, I suppose, a ratifying resolution for this with all the details in it.
I think what I'm
Would you send me the word file for that, please? So it would be, we bring back our next meeting is what, 22nd of July?
Out of curiosity, the civil penalties, how are they going to be administered?
You know what? That's up to the DA and the sheriff's department, right? Like outside of here.
Okay.
But I think you know where I was going with that.
I'll bring a resolution to ratify and codify all of this. Either the 22nd or the 29th.
Meeting's the 27th.
No, 22nd of July. In other words, because we have to publish and so on. So we just have to make sure we hit all of the deadlines.
So Sean made a motion?
And Jeff seconded.
This is just to schedule a public hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, so what date are we scheduling the public hearing?
8/26.
26.
8 or 7/26? 8/26. All right, so motion to set public hearing for local law. Should I read the local law?
You can, it's, and the resolution that will be coming with will have the local law in it, and you go away. It'll talk about seeker. This is a type 2 action, it's routine or continuing administration, so it's a type 2 action. It doesn't require environmental review, it really has no impact on environmental at all. It's purely administration of the day-to-day business of the board. I think it's subsection 26 of 617.5 of the New York Code.
Okay, all right, so let's read this. Local law number blank of 2025, Town of Fallsburg, County of Sullivan, State of New York. A local law prohibiting the recording or disclosure of confidential information from executive sessions of the town board. Be it enacted by the town board of the Town of Fallsburg as follows. Section 1, title. This local law shall be known as the Executive Session Confidentiality Law of the Town of Fallsburg. Section 2, legislative intent. The town board of the town of Fallsburg finds and determines that executive sessions are a critical part of municipal governance and are authorized under the New York State Open Meetings Law, Public Officers Law number 105. These sessions are intended to allow confidential deliberations involving matters such as litigation, personnel, contracts, and public safety. The unauthorized recording or disclosure of information discussed in executive sessions undermines the integrity of the deliberative process and may subject the town to legal, financial, and reputational harm. The purpose of this law is to preserve the confidentiality of executive sessions by prohibiting the recording, broadcasting, and sharing of information discussed therein. This law is to be applied in addition to the rules, regulations, and obligations set forth in the Town of Fallsburg Law, Chapter 12, Code of Ethics. Section 3, Authority. This local law is adopted pursuant to Municipal Home Law number 10, subsection 10, and Public Officers Law, section 105, which permit towns to enact local laws for the protection of public interests, including governance, public safety, and confidentiality in lawful executive sessions. Section 4, Definitions. For the purposes of this local law, the following terms shall have the meanings indicated. Executive session. A portion of the meeting of the town board closed to the public pursuant to Public Officers Law, section 105. Recording. The use of any device to capture audio, video, photographic, or digital data. Disclosure. Sharing, transmitting, publishing, or otherwise disseminating information or content from an executive session, whether verbal, written, or electronic. Confidential information. Any material or information discussed in the executive session not otherwise subject to public disclosure under the Freedom of Information Law or other applicable laws. Section 5, Prohibitions. A. No person present in an executive session of the town board, including town board members, officers, employees, contractors, consultants, or other authorized attendees shall record in any form the proceedings or discussions held during an executive session. 2. Disclose or transmit in any manner any confidential information discussed during such session to any individual not authorized to receive it. Or 3. Cause or assist any other person to engage in the prohibited conduct outlined above. Section 6. Exemptions. This law should not apply to communications protected by attorney-client privilege where disclosure is made to legal counsel or as required by law. Official record keeping required by law and conducted in compliance with Public Officers Law, section 106. Disclosures made under lawful whistleblower protections provided they comply with applicable state or federal law. Section 7, Enforcement and penalties. Any person who violates this local law may be subject to 1. Censure, removal, or disciplinary action if they are a town employee or appointed official consistent with applicable law and due process. Civil penalties of up to $500 per violation, recoverable in a civil action commenced by the town. Or 3, referral to law enforcement or state oversight bodies if the violation rises to the level of misconduct, breach of fiduciary duty, or criminal conduct. B, nothing in this law shall preclude the town from pursuing injunctive relief or seeking damages for harm caused by the unauthorized disclosure. C, in the event any enforcement proceeding pursuant to this chapter or chapter 12, Code of Ethics, results in a conflict of interest or appearance of a conflict of interest such that the town attorney, assistant town attorney, and standing special counsel are recused, the town board is authorized to retain special counsel to effectuate enforcement free from conflict or recusal. Section 8, Severability. If any provision of this law is deemed invalid or unenforceable by a court of competent jurisdiction, such invalidity shall not affect the remaining provisions, but shall continue in force and effect. Section 9, Effective date. This local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State in accordance with municipal home rule law. Right, and we're setting the public hearing for this on August 26th. Do I have a motion to set the public hearing to August 26th?
Motion.
We did that.
I have the motion.
Yeah, second from Jen.
All right, so all in favor of setting the public hearing on these changes to August 26th?
All right.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right. I will entertain further motions or enter executive session.
Sure, why not? I'd like to have conversation about setting up a comprehensive plan board, and with also conversations about having a moratorium, because quite frankly, we need it. Our infrastructure is a disaster, and we all know it. And I think Councilman Steingart actually said this, and we've all said this in different pieces, but this only works if we have a cross-section of the entire community involved on this board. If this board is heavily weighted on one side or another, it will never work, and people will think we're trying to go after them. And so I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I think having people who have a vested, honest interest in the survival of Fallsburg, we need to do this sooner rather than later. We cannot kick the can down the road. And we need a moratorium because we quite frankly cannot fix the car while it's still in motion. We got to stop the car. And our issue is delivery. Our infrastructure is from 1938. In a couple of years, I don't know where we're going to be. But we've got to slow things down when you have hundreds of projects that are coming on. When you have people who are coming to this board saying, you know, they're not using water, we'll take their water. We are in a precarious situation. It is a crisis. It is a critical crisis. That being said, you know, I would like the board to entertain the idea of creating a new comprehensive plan and I'm going to name a list of citizens to that comprehensive plan board with the idea that we absolutely need a moratorium and working with an experienced moratorium company and not be arbitrary and capricious about it, but be very thoughtful and very strategic in terms of how long we do it, why we're doing it, and everybody's on the same page, and we have representation from every sector of the community. That said, my thoughts were Amy Carey and Stan Wagner, Ari Brownhut, Barbara Schmidt, Carlos Rotana, Curtis Brock, Charles Davis, Ellie Letterman, Megan Petty, Mike Weber, Patricio Raballo, William Cruz, James O'Gary, and Mary Adams.
Okay, so the motion is to have a discussion about this?
Discussion or creation of it or invitation, I don't know. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what that looks like. But there's two things.
On a gross level, there's two steps. One is the board has to decide whether or not they want to commission a comprehensive plan and engage consultants for the purposes that you outlined. There's a statutory procedure both for a comprehensive plan review and there also are all manner of rules, both in statutory and case law, with regard to moratorium. All of them, they can't be started with the snap of the fingers.
Right.
So the concept would be, what is the board interested in pursuing in that regard? And if they're interested in pursuing a comprehensive plan, we have to look at the statutory procedure and we have to follow the procedure that's laid out in the law. And then the same thing, if you're looking for advice, then it's a matter of maybe looking for the professional to advise you so that the comprehensive plan or moratorium or one or the other or neither or both would be sometime down the line. So it would be to perhaps seek to engage an expert on that. So that's you're going to have a concept. Probably needs to wait until the budget cycle because a comprehensive plan, I would assume, you're looking in the range of
It's like 6 figures, right?
Yeah, definitely
25,000 and so on, and you know that's assuming that everything goes the way it's anticipated to go. They could be higher, they could be lower, so it's not something that can happen quickly. The board, I think, initially has to have a consensus as to what the direction is. Are these things something that you want to pursue? Is it something that needs to be looked into and reported back? Do we need to seek out a consultant? So that would be the first thing, and I think it's a consensus. It's not a decision for tonight. It would be a consensus as to a direction. The comprehensive plan is not all that old. Usually you go on more or less a 10-year cycle, so the concept probably would be to have a comprehensive plan maybe to be enacted in 2028, you know, after the 10 years. We also the board might want to wait. We do have some zoning changes that are in place that were to fix problems created by the last iteration of the comprehensive plan where code sections were adopted that were actually not consistent and had negative impacts on areas causing unintended consequences within administration of the code. So it's something that concept first, consultants time frame. I think the board has to think it's a long range thought, but it needs to be considered conceptually first. And then the budget cycle's coming up, and if these are priorities, you have to put them in the budget.
So if I may, I feel like Sean unwrapped one of my Hanukkah presents or Christmas presents, either one, before the holiday. I wasn't thinking comprehensive plan, honestly, but, you know, my family's been in this town 4 generations. I've been here my whole life, and I love this town. And I had 2 plans. I'm running for supervisor. Everybody knows this isn't a political speech. I'm running unopposed. I had 2 plans for when I take over as supervisor. The first plan is I'm going to do everything I can to find as much money that's out there to improve our infrastructure, because for far too long it's been ignored. The second plan, obviously a proud Jew. I grew up in Fallsburg. When I grew up in Fallsburg, I went to Hebrew school, but I was a public school student, and my group of friends were from every religion and every background and every socio-economic group. I had friends that were millionaires, I had friends that were broke, I had friends from every part of the community. And it was a because we all got along. And somehow Fallsburg, that stopped existing. And now we have this environment where it's an us versus them between many of the local community and many members of the Orthodox community. And my plan wasn't so much for a comprehensive plan, but I wanted to reach out because I believe that the majority of people in both of those groups are reasonable and want a town that can continue to develop and be a place that we all wanted to live. So my plan, and I haven't kept it a secret, is to reach out to the community leaders and find maybe a group of 10 people that were reasonable and sensible and could come up with a plan of how we could continue to develop this town in a way that it's going to be a place 20, 30, 50 years down the road that we could all live and enjoy. And I've given some thought on my own of who those people could be, and maybe we do it now. It doesn't have to be when I'm supervisor, it's something I wanted to do. But I think we need to find people that meeting that we had in Hurleyville, it was productive, I guess, but a lot of the people on the more radical sides of both groups spoke, and it was upsetting. I think 95% of the people in the middle, we could find a way to get along and continue to have development in this town, which is needed, but do it in a way that the town could survive and really flourish. So I am all for finding, I don't know about all of the names on that group. I think that if we start finding 10 people, and they should be involved, because communication has always been our problem. So the Orthodox community feels like they've been left out and they haven't had a seat at the table, which they're a very large part of our community, they absolutely deserve. And the local people feel also like now they're being taken over by a group that they don't honestly understand. So I would love to find.
I seem to think maybe we should study this a little more, get some names together.
I think it's a great idea.
And come back.
But
the other part of that
aspect is, what I'm hearing is, it's not necessarily the comprehensive plan that needs to be reviewed, it may be the community involvement.
Well,
It's more of a conversation rather than, to try to get a conversation going in a group.
I mean, maybe it's a
rather
community
than-
conversation with direction, right? And
So, because right now, my concern with, because right now, we have a comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan is what it is. We've modified, or trying, in the process of modifying the zoning code to comply with RLUIPA and to give the ability of the planning board to evaluate these projects without all of these projects being sent to the ZBA. The unintended consequence did not come out of the comprehensive plan. The unintended consequences came out of the law that banned things which really was not the intention of the comprehensive plan. It was preserve this agriculture and other things, open space, but what ended up happening was ban things so that everything had to go to the ZBA and had an unintended consequence. So I'm not sure if the comprehensive plan,
But here's the
but
thing,
the community.
the idea of a comprehensive plan is also about what is the vision of the community, right? And so with that being the foundation of what you're going into, what is that vision of the community looks like? And that conversation can't happen without everyone at the table.
Agreed.
And so whether it's you kick it down 2 years or you do it now, we all have to, if we all don't have a similar view that we can get together and go, you know what, this makes sense, we're all screwed, right? And that's the bottom line. Richard, you don't live here, right? We do. And I don't think folks want to get into, we shouldn't be in this position where it's us versus them. It's asinine that we're in this position. But yet, we keep getting here because we're not in the same room having a conversation about, hey, we all agree, we all don't want to screw ourselves. I think we could all agree on that. That's your base. And then we work from there. You know, a lot of the names on this list, I rattle out names. Some of these people can't stand it. But you know what? I put them on the list because I'm like, you know what? I know they've been in here. I know they've been active. I know they've been talking. It's not about me. It's about Fallsburg. What can we do to move Fallsburg forward? And that only happens when we have a shared community vision. And it does, to me, start with a comprehensive plan. And that's getting the conversation going to say what that vision is.
Right. Well, no, I don't know, but perhaps I wasn't clear. The comprehensive plan is gonna take a year or maybe
It's
more
gonna take-
anyway.
right.
So it does have to
Yeah.
start sooner rather than later, but it's not something that.
It's not an instant,
It's
no.
not an instant
No.
change. It's not an instant change. So just be aware that that would be the beginning of it.
It's gonna take work.
So,
Yeah.
what I recommend is that the board publicly discuss these concepts so that the public knows what's going on, the board knows what each of you are thinking about, and you get the conversation going. Getting community involvement in legislation is important. So, you know, the point is well taken, but I think we have to we have the big ball, we gotta mold it down to see
Yeah.
what's gonna go on. And it has to be kept in mind because we do have a budget cycle coming up. So if there's gonna be a consultant with regard to growth, or a consultant that's gonna develop a comprehensive plan, which is gonna take us a year or two or a year and a half, you know, these are things that you have to prioritize and budget for them.
Agreed.
And then there has to be a search for the appropriate expert. The appropriate expert is a critical thing because you don't want someone coming in and saying, oh, hi, Fallsburg, this is what Tuxedo Park looks like. We have rows of $1 million houses, here you go. That's what happens with these. You have to really have local, as much as possible, involvement to make it specific because this town has its own unique reality that isn't necessarily what some other place looks like. So that's the bottom line.
I was thinking more of like a community advisory committee.
Certainly is.
With regard to everything.
With everything, like, we don't have to have.
Noise
separate-
laws,
With all
we're
of it,
gonna,
like,
you know,
we are not, you're right, because we're not communicating with our,
It's always been a problem
Right,
with all
there's
of
this-
our boards.
yeah.
Since I've been on it
Right.
for 20 years, that the community
so let's.
feels left out.
Let's
That's
make
what
it,
I wanted.
and then people can apply. I just make recommendations, but I think having folks a fair opportunity to apply to something like that, a community advisory board, and then we actually listen, and they bring the stuff, and we work through it. But it doesn't happen if we're not sitting in the same room.
Right.
I agree with you 100%. We've all got to be in the same room.
Can I ask a quick question? It's very nice how informal this is. Can we ask a question or participate at all, or?
It's really for the board to discuss.
We could close the meeting and
So,
have it.
no, don't close the meeting. The board has discretion that if the communication or conversation would be helpful to the board can have a back and forth. If it would be helpful.
This is what we're talking about, like right now, like let him say something, like I know, but we're literally talking about communicating with the public.
What is your comment?
Okay,
Please.
it's very simple. Sean made two proposals, one of, you know, revising the community plan and planning ahead for it. Makes sense, but like you pointed out, that's really far down the road. The other proposal, though, which would require leadership from the town board, is a moratorium. That's the significant elephant in the room. And that's one that most of the board, I don't think, would vote for, because they would alienate one part of the community. But as Sean pointed out, we're at a tipping point. And all this other stuff about the comprehensive plan means nothing unless we slow it down and figure out how do we want to proceed. Then Nate's idea of talking to people, how do we want to proceed? Great. But the moratorium is really the fundamental issue that Sean brought up.
Do you have any comments?
No, you were waving your hand and say the Mary was saying, was gonna say.
So I just have two things I wanted to mention, which is one, the comprehensive plan was very good at one point, and then as we know, close to the finalizing of it, it got changed. So what I want to say is, it's great to have a great comprehensive plan, but if we don't enforce it, it is useless. So what I want to say is, if we have this advisory board, whatever it is, and it's solid, and it starts now, so it's not political, it just starts, then maybe we have some hope of enforcing this. But right now, we are not enforcing much for various different reasons. It's complicated, I get it. But meanwhile, yes, we are at a tipping point. I mean, we've already gotten one thing, don't use your water on the lawn this week because Loch Sheldrake well is down to 15 gallons, whatever.
So that, to be
I
fair,
know it was
that,
a pump thing, I know it was a pump thing. But I also know, when I talked to an environmental lawyer, that when you look at the quantity of water for a town, you are not supposed to rely just on a water tank. And I know that the developments that are happening in Loch Sheldrake have gone that way because we're saying, well, this one's gonna get 100,000 a day, and this one's gonna get this. So now we're up to 1 million, which is the capacity of the water tank. But that is actually not the way all towns run. We're running that way because of pressure, pressure, pressure to develop when we are not ready. And it is about land use, not people.
Excuse me, I disagree. If you want to
Of
have a
course
public conversation about it, I disagree. There's enough water according to New York State Geological, look it up, and the infrastructure was not done or fixed or upgraded in the last 40 years. So no, upgrade your infrastructure and do the work that's supposed to be done.
Do your job. I would also like to cover the last comprehensive plan we had made. We had a moratorium. It was people were affected even though they had private water and sewer, and people who just wanted to do small additions got so punished. And when you're putting a moratorium, you're just locking out everybody. It's getting anger inside. It's getting built up. Now, on the issue of infrastructure, I brought up.
so this is exactly why I want to create this group of people
that
that
you're
represent.
right.
I think moratorium, honestly,
We agree with
I
you.
would not support a moratorium at this point because it's such a controversial word. And the bottom line is, we have almost a moratorium in place because we don't have water and sewer left. So I would rather have a group, again, that represents every part of our community, to have these conversations and come up with a plan that everybody feels comfortable with. And we have problems, and we have an aging infrastructure in this town that's, there's a lot of reasons, and you could place blame on a lot of people, including boards that I was on previously, but it's a very unique situation we have in this town, and the time we have to put money into our water and sewer infrastructure.
And that, I want to add to what you mentioned about the working together. I was once at a planning board meeting, and one of the developers stood up over there. It was going back and forth about a traffic issue, and he mentioned for the town, I'm willing to pay whatever it's supposed to get approved by the state, the expense of the light. They wanted to add a traffic light. I think it was one of the developments by
Carmel Jacob.
I don't remember what it was exactly. I'm willing to pay that expense because for me it's going to take another 18 months. It cost me a lot of money, 18 more months in interest and everything. But it was blocked because back and forth miscommunication and miscoordination working together.
But I think that's part of the problem, right? It's the miscommunication.
It's a self-created problem by there are people who coming up without understanding the benefit of the economy, what the people are bringing. The town of Fallsburg would have been bankrupt if not of the summer people, and the benefit of the people who are not here for 9 months, and they're contributing much more for the town of Fallsburg than the entire local community. Not local community, the entire year-round community. And it's being so divided that the only thing which the locals could hear is a moratorium. Because without it, that's the least common sense for an agreement of a coalition working together.
What makes the most sense is having a coalition of people who are concerned citizens working together.
The most sense?
The most sense is having everyone work together. I see it based on the infrastructure and where we are, that a moratorium is probably gonna be required.
Simply fix it.
Yeah.
I had a meeting,
I said, so, but Ari, you know what?
Give me a second.
I know you said
I want to
simply
respond
fix
to your question. Ali, you interrupted me. I had a meeting with Steve Aglianti about 12 years ago, and it's his Knish in Laksheldrik. He told me, I'm gonna lock out everybody over here. The casino is coming up, and they're gonna bring us an economy. We don't need any more. That's what he told me.
Yeah. No,
We don't need any more Jewish people over here. We're gonna build a moratorium. We're gonna build a comprehensive plan. Again, that's what he told me.
yeah, no.
I was sitting there. I told him, why do you have to go that way? I told him I have a simple solution, very simple solution. In New York City, when they wanted to, New York City, Mayor Bloomberg changed New York City, and it became one of the most expensive areas, which brings a lot of business for the city. How did he do that? He gave tax abatement for developers who want to come in, and actually the tax abatement was no benefit for it was a benefit to developers in the short-term vision, but in the long term, now 20 years later, New York City inherited property tax to repay wherever they invested in infrastructure at that time. So I asked him, I have a simple solution. I don't know if it's the attorney should have to say if it's possible. How about you have a development coming up with 100 units. That development could be put on standstill for 5 years if you have a moratorium, or we could take the 5 years school tax as well, not just the town tax, to invest in infrastructure, because otherwise the school wouldn't have that tax, and those kids won't go to the school at all, and they can have that money to do infrastructure. In my opinion, I think it's a fair idea, and it's fair for everybody, and you have money to develop, you have money to do infrastructure, and otherwise, it will be a vacant land, growing grass, getting violations for high grass.
That's all they want. That's all they want.
That's, okay, if that's what they want, let's put Fallsburg back into the wealthy community.
There's one guy.
So if that's what they want, there is no way how to bring us together.
That's exactly
The only way is
what
out, we're gonna get more voters and own the town and do what they did in Blooming Grove.
No, we're not, Larry, come closer.
There's one guy who hasn't been local, hasn't been just bought a property, and he says his well went dry. But when you want to use that as an excuse, but from his well isn't dry, his house is running fine, but his farm well, he says it's dry. I can promise you this well is over 100 years old, it's a shallow well, maybe 50, 60 feet. Let me come in and fix it, and that's all be good. No, he doesn't want me to fix it. He wants to have a complaint. He says, oh, we don't have water, we don't have water. He's using all types of excuses. We're all the same. Fallsburg is rich of water. Everyone's rich of water. Just address the problem, fix it, and keep on moving. Everything is fine. Thank you.
Ari, would you be part of that process to help fix it?
I'm not up to. The process is fixing the infrastructure. That's the process. There's no process.
Right. I'm asking, would you help in that process?
The process of fixing infrastructure, absolutely.
That's what I'm asking,
Yes.
yeah.
Only is there no moratorium.
We're not talking about that, right? We're literally talking about working together, and that's the conversation, you know, but we put it all out there.
But I would like to go back to the previous thing, Sean, you mentioned. We should work together and open doors. There should be no closed conversations with how do you call it?
Executive session.
The executive closed session.
Executive session, just so you know, is only really for
No,
very specific reasons, like personnel, where it's private information
Okay, that's all right, yeah.
that has to be protected. Executive session is not intended to discuss matters like this.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We can't.
No, it's not, you shouldn't be sorry.
Good question.
Can I ask you a question, please? My name's Jim Legary. I don't.
James is a good guy.
Yes. What's your suggestion? If I heard your suggestion correctly, you said because your developers are not really, the children are not really using the schools. So you were suggesting that if we took the school tax that you're paying, instead of give it to the schools, we could use that to build the infrastructure?
No.
Or the schools still get the money?
No, the schools get the money.
All right, so where does the money come to fix the infrastructure?
Instead of the property being vacant for 5 years. So to speed up the process, so we could get the money for the first 5 years, the school will invest to get more money in year 6, 7, 8. They're gonna invest, also be a part of the investment in the infrastructure, so they're gonna make money later on.
I've been here for a long time, and I can tell you, just my own personal experiences, watching this board and other boards work. Now, only use the wastewater treatment plant on 42 as an example. I was on the comprehensive committee the last time, and they talked about the sewer treatment plant then. And back then, it was gonna cost about $40 million, and nothing happened. Today, they've got a bond for $110 million, and it's gonna take 4 or 5 years to fix. So my question to you, have you done any research to see what it's gonna cost to fix the water infrastructure?
I don't know, I haven't done
I
any
think
research.
that's-
One second, I haven't done any research, but I just saw one developer build a whole campsite of, I think it's, he's Mike gonna know better, about 300,000-400,000 square feet with 3 pools and a big synagogue. He did it in 6 months. With water and with sewer, everything, all infrastructure. Get the right people on board. I've been involved, I've been buying a lot, I've been involved with a lot of people in my 47 years of my life. I know how the government works and how government contracts works. Come down in Brooklyn, see how private people are doing development, see how the city is doing development. Come around here, see how many development, the people are so angry because they see 100 homes coming up in 3 months. There are people who know how to do it, get the right people, it's gonna be cheaper and faster. You won't need $110 million in a bond because the bond gonna be repaid much faster with a lower interest.
Do you know where Brooklyn gets all of his water?
From us.
From us.
That's why we're so,
Yeah.
that's why we have so much water.
Yes. And we don't have the water.
Like,
the
the
reservoir.
pipe is 7 miles from here, I think, something like that, right?
How much?
Like, the aqueduct to the city is like 7 miles from Fallsburg.
So it's another border.
I will say, water is not our problem.
No, right.
Our problem is our pipes are
That's
75
the
years
problem.
old.
You gotta replace them
But
out
the
of-
water in the ground is
No.
not the problem.
The
Right.
problem is something else, I think.
It's
Common sense.
Okay.
That's the only problem. Everything is doable, and the money is there, because you see how many houses they're building. And I never built, I built only in a camp. I didn't build none of the developments. I'm just around here for 25 years. I see what's doing, I see the hate what's going on, and I see the people who are willing to develop, they're willing to put up money. They want to make money. So if they want to make money, they want to get a development done quick. I'll tell you just a funny story. There's a guy built in Brooklyn, a Hasidic guy, a Jewish guy, Orthodox guy. He built 200 apartments about 20 years ago in 9 months. You know what he did? He paid for the city money to have a full-time DOB inspector on his project, so he should make sure everything is done right. You never have to go for an inspection. You could work together to get, if you are on a speed and you want to get things done, the top infrastructure can be redone in less than 2 years. I don't know about the money. I didn't saw the town's budget.
We have
proposals.
70 miles of underground water pipes,
That will have
and
to be
each,
replaced.
and it has to be replaced, all of it, pretty much. Each mile is $2 million.
And we can't find it, because it's not easy to find.
It's not fully.
And those are under roads that have to be
You could
dug up.
always make it.
Listen, I agree that anything can be done if you
want.
approach it the right
There was
way.
a camp built in
But
6
it's a
months.
major.
How many kids in that camp?
2,000.
How many kids?
One place size has gotta be done.
Well, it has to be done.
Most
Like,
of those
all this has
pipes
to be
were
done.
in 1975. That's
So-
50 years ago.
Some-
No,
That's
that's
what
what
I
we were
hear.
in 1945.
Oh,
45, 38,
So-
45.
Don't want to get
60
5
years
people at
ago.
5,000.
But we have to start, we have to start.
I have Stan online who's had his hand up for a while. Can I unmute him?
Sure. Giving everyone a chance.
Stan, you can unmute.
Hi all, we all know the infrastructure is failing, we all know it needs to be fixed, replaced, whatever. But the key thing everybody seems to be forgetting is we don't know if the water aquifer is sustainable.
And I think the aquifer study is like taking part with the county as well, right? Like they're working on something?
I'll disagree with Stan. We have studies that were done, we've had test wells that have been dug throughout the town. The water in the ground is not our problem. It's getting that water to
From point A to point B.
Exactly. Nathan is 100% right. You are.
If you agree with him. See, look at that, the belt is gonna go out.
100% right.
Miracles do happen in Fallsburg.
Alright, so it sounds to me this is the start
Very
of a
productive.
very meaningful and productive conversation. And let's just hope this is just the beginning of a comprehensive and long, involved process for us to really start to work through our issues in this town. Okay, I have a motion to enter executive session.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
What?
We're gonna 5-minute break.
Yeah.
Wait,
That's before one of the four purposes.
what's it for?
It's for,
Litigation, employment.
Yeah, employment.
You gotta say something.
Employment.
Contract negotiation.
yeah,
Wait.
employment
Employment?
and negotiation on contracts, yes.
So there's a current, wait, well, all our contracts are settled. Okay.
It's something that was brought up last time, and I'd like to.
Personnel,
Yes.
okay, so,
Okay.
motion to executive, we have a motion to enter executive session to discuss personnel matters. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Alright,
You need a 5-minute break.
with that, we don't anticipate any further business after executive session. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight, and we are adjourned.